What's up to all our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the mother-loving geek nation? You're currently tuning into the CultPop podcast, episode 50. Oh my shit, it's 50.
Episode 50?
Episode 50.
851 though.
Yeah, legacy at numbering 851. I've been at this for a bit.
And episode 2 or 3 since that time that we talked about doing second legacy numbering.
Oh yeah?
Right, so it's second legacy 2 or 3, legacy 851, episode 50.
Yes, nailed it. Of the animatronically spooky CultPop podcast, a show where we talk about comics and movies and pizza places. Themed pizza joints and all the other things that scratch your nerdy itch. We're coming to you live from Young Junk HQ. Young Junk! A bomb-ass podcast production space in Philadelphia, PA. I'm your host, Johnny Destructo. You may have noticed, and if you didn't, I just told you, of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex, located at 4327 Main Street, Philadelphia, PA 19127. It's a comic book store that's pretty good.
You're the proprietor?
I proprietor
it?
Yeah.
I've seen you in there proprieting.
I just propriet my life away.
What is it like to propry?
Lonely, but also wonderful.
Yeah.
I feel like you were trying to save it there.
Yeah. I'm so sad.
You're the captain of your ship.
Lonely.
Yeah, I will go down with it.
Yeah.
You might?
Yeah.
But you'll be the captain.
Thank you.
Yeah.
With me this week is Noel Bartocci
Hi. Hey. That's my real last name.
and Brian Lieb.
Hi.
It's his fake last name.
Also in the booth
Is
is our trusty producer, Dylan the Great. Remember, if anything goes wrong, Dylan did it.
You kind of said that wrong.
Feel free to comment and like and subscribe and ring the little bell so that you know when we're doing this here nonsense. Also, email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com. That's the intro to the show. I feel like it went really well. I'm proud of myself.
7 out of 10.
A little less proud of these guys. It was fine. But they were here, which is nice.
Took my cues.
What the fuck?
The next segment I think is going to be even better.
Oh.
And it is our letter segment
Clam up. Don't give him anything.
called
Keep going.
We Got Letters.
We got letters?
No, so that segment's over. Our next segment is one I lovingly call What You Been Up To This Week, in which I ask my co-hosts, what have you been up to this week? And I add a really annoying at the end. So here we go. Brian,
Yes.
what have you been up to this week?
I'm glad you asked with that sound afterwards.
Thank you.
Yeah, it helps me get going.
Yeah, I know.
So,
I get him going.
oh, you get him going.
Yeah.
So, I was watching the wonderful story of Henry Sugar recently.
Is it aptly titled?
It was.
Because I don't want to hear about it if it's not.
It was about a guy named Henry Sugar. Yes.
Yeah. Was it wonderful?
Did he?
Oh, yes, and it was a story.
Oh, okay. Go
Did he
ahead.
participate
It was
in Wonders?
A story.
Yeah.
He did participate in Wonders. So I was watching this story. It's Wes Anderson.
Oh.
It made it, right? And Noel and I were talking that I said, I love Wes Anderson's aesthetic. I love his movies World Tenenbaums is one of my favorite movies, right?
That's
It was
a
the
good
first
one.
of his that I saw, I think.
So good.
And I just haven't really been that excited about his last several films.
I haven't
right?
bothered with his last several films, yeah.
I haven't either. And the Grand Budapest Hotel, and the French Dispatch, we were like, do you want to watch this? Like a couple of times. And then we didn't watch it. Asteroid City, I'm really excited about and have not watched it.
Oh. Are living your life.
I'm just living my life.
Yeah.
Right? And that part of that life is not watching this.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar is a Netflix original short film, 39 minutes long.
Oh.
It was written by Wes Anderson, based on a story by Roald Dahl.
Oh.
Yes. Who's a
And
favorite?
The description is Henry Sugar, a wealthy man, decides to take on an extraordinary challenge. He wants to master an extraordinary skill in order to cheat at gambling games.
Yes.
Okay.
And I was watching this, actually. First of all, it was phenomenal.
Okay.
Right? And I have not been this into a Wes Anderson movie in a while, which is the only reason I brought up the other stuff about having been kind of bored of or just not getting to his stuff, is that this was awesome. It was very much a Wes Anderson aesthetic, but there there was a certain newness it felt like to it, and his style fits Roald Dahl's work very well. I think so. One of the differences was that it is like a play, right? In that the scenery changes behind you. Sometimes people play more than one character. Benedict Cumberbatch is Henry Sugar, and he also plays like a very small role in 2 scenes. And there are 4 of these. I haven't seen the other ones, but Matt Ayoade, I believe, plays a relatively small role in this one, and Ben Kingsley is also in it. And
Richard Ayoade,
right?
From IT Crowd.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And the main character on the new Crapopolis, which I reviewed a little while ago.
That's right.
It's a fun show.
Yeah.
So I think that they all play different roles in all 4 of these, is my impression, right? Which is they're like a troupe. Yeah. And it's very interesting.
That is fun. Yeah, that's cool.
So, yes, it was this like charming story. And as I was watching it, there's this event that I've thought about for years. Like I remembered reading about it in a story, but I didn't really remember much of the rest of the story. And I'm watching this and I'm like, wait a second. This is a lot like that story that I remember. Hey, hang on. This is exactly like that story.
Hold up.
So I think I read this a long time ago and have forgotten. But yeah, I really recommend it. It's the best Wes Anderson thing that I've seen in a long time. It's his style, but there's a freshness to it, and the story itself is a very pleasing story.
I watched 2 or 3 minutes of it, and I paused it and didn't return.
All right.
He's been peeing ever since.
Yeah, I've been urinating ever since. I'm over 40. It happens. I'm peeing right now.
I see that.
It's potent.
Asparagus.
Whole asparagus he's peeing.
So like a play. So it's in the stuff I watched, the main character is narrating to you like down the barrel of the camera, thoughts, actions, scenery, and then the acting and the dialogue, and then stepping in and out of the scene.
The same thing happened to me. That is not the movie. It was strange. We started it, and it played that, and that's the trailer for it. And it plays out a little differently.
All right, because that was really fucking annoying. I don't care for audiobooks. My brain literally just kind of goes into auto and doesn't pay attention when somebody's just narrating to me. Yeah. So I was like, if this is all of it, I'm out.
That being said, there is a lot of that, but not in that way.
Okay.
So it might be,
it really was like a monotone narration of the actor, and it was like, okay, cool, but I'm glad it's not all of it.
Yeah. I mean, there is a lot of like this thing. He said doing that, right? So it is like that, but it's just that those particular scenes, some of those are in the movie. But also I saw that and I was like, oh, that was awesome. So we had different experiences.
So what made you finally get around to that? And was it just the length of the short?
No, I mean, this is pretty new. Yeah. And truth be told, I saw it a little while ago. I lied to you earlier about what I've been up to this week.
Oh my God.
And I'd do it again. But
no regrets.
What I've really been up to this week was just kind of keeping up with other things that we've been up to in the last couple of weeks. So I'm coming clean.
Picking something else.
Yeah.
Great.
But
what you up to this month, huh?
So I saw it right after it came out, is what I meant to say. That
too much honesty in general.
Well, here's how I feel about
about this.
You just told us about urinating an entire asparagus.
Yeah.
Sure.
Very weird.
I want to see
painful.
it.
I literally full stock of asparagus out of my urethra. Just the whole goddamn thing. Just thunk.
Was that not clear? That's what I thought.
That's what I assumed. I didn't think it was a thunk. I didn't think it was coming out that fast. But yeah. But to answer your question,
you don't know the strength of my urethra. Sorry.
I do now. To answer your question, I got to it relatively soon after it came out because it's Roald Dahl, which I thought was really cool. And I was like, oh, Wes Anderson doing Roald Dahl? I'll check that out. Right. Sure. And the shortness of it is cool. And I haven't gotten to the other 3, but I want to.
Right on. Yeah. Cool. Hey, Noel, what you been up to this week, or month?
No, it was this week.
Okay.
It was this week. I wasn't. You know what? I wasn't done with. Let's talk more about
Asparagus?
No,
The
Wes
Wonderful Story.
Anderson.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I mean, because you've kind of fallen off of Wes Anderson.
I fell
too, right?
off hard.
Yeah,
I loved Royal Tenenbaum.
Mhm.
That is still one of my favorite.
So good.
So
20
good.
years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah. And I think the Grand Budapest Hotel. No, what was the one on the train?
Oh, Darjeeling. Limited.
Darjeeling Limited.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
That may have been the last one I sat through.
That was the last one I
no.
didn't watch.
And I was like,
I
the
still
first one I
I
didn't
still have
watch.
never seen it.
Yeah.
The Grand Budapest was the last one I watched, and I
Mhm.
liked it a lot.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, his style never evolves, and
Yeah.
after you've seen it, you just seen it.
it felt very samey, and I got a little bored.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, the reason I asked about the time limit on this, or the time
Span
of this movie, is because I was like, maybe his stuff is just more suited for me for short stories
Hmm.
than it is 2.5 hours.
I could see that.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. He has a very particular pace.
Yeah.
Also, and it's extremely enjoyable the first few times I saw it, and it's not that I dislike it now. It's just I'm not drawn to it, but this is a little different. It's very methodical is not the right word, but it's not completely separate from his kind of rhythms.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's shorter, and I think you should give it a shot
Oh, I
if you're
definitely
interested
will.
in liking a Wes Anderson thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Oh, what have I been up to? I in the previous week of spooky things, the spookiness of the spooky season.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking for passive watches and things that weren't too super spooky and blah blah blah, and I rediscovered / fell upon a movie I remember from 1988 called My Best Friend is a Vampire.
Yup.
Ooh.
I've never forgotten that movie. I used to love that movie. My Best Friend is a Vampire.
Here it is.
Look
I
at
have
that.
it on the Vestron Video Collection Series. My Best Friend's Vampire, starring Robert Sean Leonard, Cheryl Pollack, Renee, or other people, David Warner. Directed by directed by Jimmy Houston. This came out in 1988. I remember this movie relatively fondly.
Yeah, man.
Actually, very fondly. It's just a 1980s teenager who is seduced by this mysterious lady who bites him, and then he becomes a vampire.
Oh.
And then the eponymous best friend is a chauvinist who just kind of tries to help his friend out. It is
What a mix of characters.
it's just a full-on comedy. There's even though the stakes are big, there's really no stakes. Watching this, it still works for me.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy
it is
Bates.
Yeah, Kathy Bates is the female lead's mother.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
And featuring, also starring an appearance by Oscar winner Kathy Bates.
Yeah. She really steals the scene.
An appearance.
So the very beginning,
they have to put up the word appearance. Everybody appears in the movie.
it's a very dated movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
But not even just aesthetically. It's plot wise, it's incredibly dated.
Mm-hmm.
Like watching something from 1988 and how they would treat the same material now with different film language and different shortcuts.
Mm-hmm.
The movie starts with voiceover dream sequence. And the very first thing that the main character who's playing a tuba says is like he wants to stare at this one girl, but he can't stop staring at this other one. And the other one being the main lead who's on the box.
Yeah.
Gorgeous woman.
Mm-hmm.
She's incredibly attractive and very beautiful. But the narration is, and why would I ever want to look at her? She's a nerd. She's so unappealing. And I'm like, fucking all right.
Was she wearing glasses?
It was like yes.
And she had paint on her overalls.
She's wearing
Such a
glasses.
nerd.
She's playing a saxophone. Has a beret on, and
Yeah,
like
man.
it's all of the awful, but also oddly hilarious like tropes of 80s movies.
It's like Mary Stuart Masterson in what was that?
Five Nights at Freddy's.
No, but she was.
Yeah.
She was. I was
Um,
like, what is happening
know.
here?
Where did
Some
you
Kind of
come
Wonderful.
from?
Yeah,
Some kind of
yeah,
wonderful with the punk gloves and everything. And
But this is her. Like
yeah, man,
that's her.
she's gorgeous.
She's
Yeah, great.
absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
She's the
I
nerd.
want to see this.
There,
So
it's and also there's as I'm watching it, there's a subplot of this older vampire who like is teaching him how to be a vampire.
Basically,
And-
his watcher.
Kind of,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
But he just feeds off of pig's blood.
Yeah.
So he goes to the butcher and is just like, can I get like 80 steaks and 6 chickens and a pint of pig's blood? And the guy's like, is this your first time? Do you just want pig's blood? He's like, yes, please.
Yeah.
So he goes and gets it. But then there's a montage because all 80s movies have a montage, and more movies should have them.
Yeah.
They imply that there's this like underground infrastructure of blood products for vampires.
Yeah.
And it's never fucking talked about. Like, I want to see that movie.
What conversation do you need? There is a montage.
I want to see that movie of prepackaged pig's blood in cans, in bottles, as a wine.
Yeah.
And a whole underground supply chain in order to get this 16-year-old
so
blood. So fucking cool.
So you liked it?
I would hesitantly recommend it because it's all the 80s of it's wildly sexist, it's incredibly outdated, but it's not offensive.
Right.
The movie it's PG rated. The movie itself is like very, very tame and very playful, but there were a couple of jokes where it's just like, ugh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
I grew up loving this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it was this, and then sort of I lost track of it, right? So I just sort of like in the ether of
You
my
went in
brain.
separate ways.
It's an it's an afternoon on USA that it would just play on. Yeah.
And I sort of would get it confused with the Jim Carrey feature,
Once Bitten
Once Bitten,
with Lauren
Carrey's in
Hutton.
Once Bitten?
God damn.
With an excellent dance number in the middle of it with his best friend who's a girl and incredibly attractive.
Both movies are super fun, and I just love both of them.
Mm-hmm.
This is going home with me. If you don't mind me
sure.
borrowing
Yeah,
it, I
sure.
can't wait to rewatch this. It's been forever.
I already downloaded the digital code.
Wonderful.
So it's all right.
Yeah, I'm delighted that you picked this. This is
It
great.
was $11.99.
I may have to get my own copy.
Good deal.
Did I talk about demons on the show? I did. Never mind.
Yeah.
Well,
and
what have you been
honestly,
up to
you know
this
what?
week,
Wait,
huh?
hold on.
Oh.
Before you get in there,
Hold your horses.
Vestron Video,
Yeah.
this label,
Yes.
they do all weird 80s movies and
Yeah?
re-release them on Blu-ray.
I'm wondering if this
Like,
is where I got
Class
the
of
Legend of Billie
1984,
Jean.
Legend of Billie Jean's, like
Yeah.
that little banner at the top is like, and I think it's a Pennsylvania-based company too.
Oh, no shit.
Do they have that Troll movie that
Troll?
took place in there's 2 movies called Troll, but this was called Troll, that takes place in an apartment building in a city that's getting turned into this mystical
That's
realm.
Troll 1
Okay.
with the girl with the bouncy ball.
I think there was a bouncy ball.
Yeah, that's
and Julia Louis-Dreyfus is in it. That's where she met her husband, Ed Begley Jr.
I am gonna look
No,
this
her
up.
husband's not Ed Begley
JD,
Jr.
in the meantime, what have you been up to on your body?
Oh, on my body. Well, I got this. Can you? I don't know if you can see it. I got a tattoo. I'm just gonna hold it here.
Titty tat.
So I have loved the artwork of Nick. His name's Nick. He's Dead Meat on Instagram. Dead Meat, one word. I fell in love with his colors. He's a lovely gentleman.
Oh.
He's very nice, and I've always wanted to get a tattoo by him specifically. And so it wasn't until he just recently saw Across the Spider-Verse and was like, I want to do a Spider-Man tattoo. Who wants that? And I was like, that's me. I want that.
Yeah.
So a bunch of back and forths, and we finally put it together. And I got myself a nice little Ben Reilly tattoo with some battle damage. And I even requested the Todd McFarlane-esque webbing,
Cool.
which is how
Cool
he
webbing.
draws his webbing anyway, he says. So
Nice.
yeah, man, I'm delighted by it. I love it.
It looks really good. And you're getting
The
colors?
will be in December.
Cool.
So yeah, I'm very excited about that.
It is Troll number 1.
Yeah.
There was a sequel to it?
Oh, Troll 2 is has a documentary about it because it's so bad.
But I thought those were 2 completely separate movies.
Plot-wise, they are.
Oh.
As in, they don't connect to each other
Right.
in any kind of way
Okay.
that matters other than a title. It's like IP, like just being number 2, which
Interesting.
a lot of movies did in the 80s.
Really?
All they would do was sell box art and or the title of something and be a completely different movie. Or depending on which market, it would be like Super Cop 3, but it's really Police Story. Or
Oh, yeah,
Super
yeah.
Cop.
Super Cop,
But it's really Police Story 3 or
Yeah.
like they would just sell box art and or so like it was probably it was just a Troll movie, but since Troll did well at like video stores, they're like it's Troll 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's neat.
Interesting.
So that's what I've been up to this week.
Huh?
Ha!
Huh.
Well, you know what else we've been up to this week?
What?
We were partaking in the most popular film of the last couple of months. No, that's not true. That's not true at all. That's
When-
Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The most popular
The most.
PG-13 horror movie starring.
One of
Animatronic.
about one of the most popular video games.
Yes.
How about that?
Huh.
Which was created by a Trumper, but we don't talk about that.
Oh, what?
We talked about it.
Oh, you just talked about it.
Yeah.
Well, now I don't want to talk about it. And that movie is Five Nights at Freddy's in theaters and also Peacock.
Yeah, it was in
Yes.
Peacock. That's where I saw it.
That's where I saw it.
Yeah.
I did not go to the theater.
No.
It is rated PG-13.
Yeah.
It's directed by Emma Tammy.
Yeah.
Oh, so okay. So the Trumper was the guy who created the video game,
Yeah,
not
Hawthorne,
the director of this movie.
He stepped away creatively a couple years ago, but
Gotcha.
you know, whatever.
Starring Josh Hutcherson of. Why am I pointing
Other
to you?
film. The Hunger Games.
Oh my God! Yeah, Hunger
He played-
Games.
when I was watching this movie, I was like, who's that guy?
That's that guy.
Yeah, I've seen that
Hunger
guy.
Games.
I think I saw one of those movies. and-
Mary
yeah.
Elizabeth Masterson, and also lots of robots.
What about Mary Stuart Masterson?
Mary
Oh
Stuart
shoot!
Oh,
Is it
yes.
Mary? It is Mary
Mary
Stewart.
Elizabeth
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Winstead, Mary Stuart. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
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 Oh, Matt Lillard. Matt Lillard's in the
Lillard.
movie.
Matthew Lillard was in it.
What?
How did we
Oh.
skip?
Yeah, well, him. This is a much
Matthew.
smaller.
Matthew Lillard.
Also, the woman who plays Vanessa, I was like, who's that? And she was in Once Upon a Time, where she played one of the Frozen sisters. And
Oh.
I was like, oh, yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
I will never
I
know
did
that.
not make that far. Make it that
Elizabeth
far into that show.
Lille.
A troubled security guard begins working at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. While spending his first night on the job, he realizes the late shift won't be so easy to
Oh.
make it through.
Yeah, he did.
That's
did
exactly what
realize
happened. Yeah. All right, so let us give our origin stories.
Mhm.
R.E. Five Nights at Freddy's. I have heard of it. I'm a big horror guy, and I occasionally dip into horror video games.
Mhm.
Alan Wake being my favorite.
Two just came out, right?
I know. It just sort of like dropped out of nowhere too. Like I wasn't paying attention. All of a sudden, someone was like, "You know, Alan Wake 2 happened," and I was like, "What?"
I'd never heard of it until people were talking about it this week.
It's like basically you're Stephen King, and you're either having a breakdown or there's actual supernatural stuff going on, and the creatures from your novel start to pierce through into the real world.
Do you even read Sutter Kane?
Exactly, it's a Sutter Kane. In the Mouth of Madness. If you haven't seen it, 5 stars.
7 stars.
So.
out of 3.
Whoa.
And I just kept skipping Five Nights at Freddy's for whatever reason.
Uh-huh.
And so I heard the movie was coming out, and I was like, you know what? It's October, it's spooky season. Let me get a little horror video game going on. And I downloaded Five Nights at Freddy's. Had never played it. And for anyone, have you played it?
No, I have no interest.
And you never played it.
I've not played a video game in many years.
So basically, the game boots up.
Yeah.
You're standing there. It is a first person, so you can't see your own body really, but you can move your head. And you look left, you look right, and there are 2 steel doors. And you can open up the doors. They slide up and down. You've got a couple buttons. You can open it.
All right.
And then in the hallway outside there are lights. There's a light switch and a light switch. To do these things, it requires energy. You have a finite amount of energy for the night. And you can also press another button and you can cycle through the security footage in Fazbear's Pizzeria. And so you can see the different rooms, and it's all black and white, staticky, what have you.
Sure.
And so for an embarrassing amount of time, I sat there looking at all my buttons, pressing.
Yeah.
I couldn't get myself to move.
It was on a
I
beat.
could open the doors.
Yeah.
I could turn on the lights.
That was it.
And I could cycle through the
And
thing.
you ran out of
and I was
energy.
like, how do I? Why can't I move? What is? I guess did I download a busted version? Does this not? Way too long. I'm still mad at myself.
Did you look
Until
it up?
I looked it up.
Yeah.
I Googled it. I went to YouTube, as I do with most things. And, oh, no, you're not supposed to. The whole game is you are there, static, unable to move for some reason.
Oh.
And you just switch the buttons and you watch as the different animatronic horrors disappear from one room
Uh-huh.
and then show up in another room. And so you're constantly trying to track. You also have a little map of like, here's where the different rooms are, and here's where your security.
What's your
office
goal
is.
related to these things?
Yeah.
To survive 5 nights.
Why
so
don't you just keep the doors closed? What?
no, the doors are always open.
Oh no.
In order to shut them,
Okay.
that uses up your finite amount of energy
And then they
of
open
electricity.
back up.
And they open back up.
That's the
Turning
game.
on the lights
Okay.
drains your electricity.
Huh.
Looking at the footage drains your electricity. So
Looking?
flipping through.
Oh well. Sure.
It's sort of a strategy game of trying to keep track of these monsters as they're coming towards you and trying to get you.
Okay.
And then when you turn on a light on either side, when you know that they're nearby,
Right.
and then they'll appear,
Huh.
and you have to shut the door,
Oh.
and then make sure they don't get in to get
So
you.
it's a door shutting game.
It sounds like
It's
the
a
kind
door
of
shutting game.
it sounds
Door shutter.
it sounds ripe for a major motion picture with narrative.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that was the game. Now,
How long is it?
5 nights.
I mean, for
Took
him,
you foot-
I made it
for
about
him
2 nights.
or for normal people.
yeah.
yeah,
Me trying to figure out that I can't move took me 7 nights.
yeah. Real time.
Actually, 7 nights.
I like it's on right now at home.
Now-
I haven't left the game.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. I imagine there's sequels. I imagine
There's 5 of them, I think.
that they must have expanded upon it, and maybe now you can walk around. I can't imagine that there are 5. Have any? 7?
5.
I heard
5.
there were 5.
5
Yeah.
video games that are just door shutter 1 through 5.
Yeah. And
So,
that may have been an exaggeration. Somebody like, oh, there are like 5 of them, right?
Yeah.
But there's enough that would be a reasonable exaggeration at least.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's my villain
Okay.
origin story, is being enraged by this really simple game for no reason.
Okay.
I just have anger management problems. So I was curious though, because my other origin story is
You have 2 origin stories?
the Chuck E. Cheese animatronic musicians
Mm-hmm.
were a nightmare for me. They were
Oh, really?
absolute nightmare fuel.
Oh.
I love Chuck E. Cheese's. I love going.
Yeah.
But I would just stand there and stare up horrified anytime they would start singing their songs.
Mm.
So this week I've watched not 1, not 2,
3?
but 3 stories
Whoa.
involving murderous animatronics from pizzerias. So I'm curious
That's
to
a lot.
see what you guys.
There are 9 games.
There are 9
Holy cats.
games.
All right, so
I mean, they
it's-
must be pretty, like,
It's
simple games.
Five Nights at Freddy's, Five Nights at Freddy's 2,
I hope he says just the numbers 3 through 9.
Five Nights at Freddy's 3, Five Nights at Freddy's 4,
5 Nights, 5
Five
Furious.
Nights at
Freddy's.
Freddy's, Five Nights at Freddy's, Sister Location,
Sister location.
Five Nights at Freddy's Pizzeria Simulator,
You just make. I hope it's just your
Fi-
pizza.
No,
Five
you're
Nights,
just-
Five
you're
Nights
managing
at
a
Freddy's,
pizzeria.
Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted, and then Five Nights at Freddy's AR Special Delivery, and then Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, and that's it.
I feel like there was a security breach.
There's no
from the first
official.
one.
Yeah.
There's no official 5, I guess, but there's 9 games.
Interesting.
Oh, sorry. Also,
10?
Five Nights at Freddy's World. It's a bit of an.
Holy man.
Oh, and
a lot
also
of
Ultimate
games.
Custom Night and Curse of Dreadbear Help Wanted
Curse of
DLC.
Dreadbear.
Freddy in Space 2 initial release was December
Where's Freddy in
2019.
Space 1.
He's making these up now.
U2's presents Five Nights at Freddy's, which was an augmented reality game. Ruin, and then upcoming Five Nights at Freddy's projects, the movie. That's it, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
It
So
seems
like 11, I lost count.
Maybe it's this like simple but somewhat challenging
Yeah.
thing that so many games and apps
Yeah,
have
it's more like an
delighted people
app.
with. Yeah.
It really does. That was my hiccup. Is that it? Yes, after looking back at it, it's an app for a
Yeah,
phone. It
yeah.
feels like that sort of game, not something you would buy and play on a big screen.
Right. I once there's a game based on the book series Ringworld, right?
Yeah.
Awesome book series, which I did not read till many years later, but I had this game. And you're on the bridge of this spaceship. You've gotten to Ringworld. And I could not figure out how to leave the bridge. Like, that was the beginning of the game.
Yeah, yeah.
This was
That was
not-
the start menu.
Right. I don't think this was a challenge that I was supposed to overcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have minimal patience with video games, especially the kind of gamer I am. I just want something I can easily jump in and out of.
Yeah,
and then I'll play that for a year. Anything, I will literally purchase a game because I'm excited about it, if I am not in the kind of like habit of it or enjoying it within an hour, I will go back to the store and I will take it back and get store credit.
wow.
I've done that more than 5
I
times.
should do that
more than
because
5
I
times.
would waste less money.
The last time I did it was
You get it back?
Metroid Dread. I love Metroid. I thought it would be great. I played it for like 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and I was just like, I'm never going to fucking touch this game. Yeah.
Interesting.
So did you guys have any... Am I the only one with an origin story about Five Nights at Freddy's?
You guys told me that there was a movie called Five Nights at Freddy's, and I think I might have seen an ad for it before that, and you said we were going to watch it for this week's show.
Yeah.
And that was my origin story involving this movie.
You
knew
hadn't
that was
heard of
going.
it. Did you know it was going to be a horror movie? So
Well, you mentioned it was like we're going to watch something for the
something spooky
Halloween
for the
season.
Halloween
and
season.
Yeah, he's not a virgin viewer in general. Like we primed you.
Yeah,
for
I knew
it.
what I was getting into.
I'm very, very familiar with the IP, very familiar with the lore, the online lore of it.
Yeah.
Like if somebody made a joke about Five Nights at Freddy's, I would understand it completely.
Yeah.
But I've never played and never wanted to. Actually, I find Five Nights at Freddy's and games like it almost ruined like YouTube and content platforms because it just became farms of people play along with it and 45-year-old men yelling like children for clicks. Yeah.
Oh, like angrily yelling.
No, if you've ever spent time, or I'm not saying you should, but like when your son is older and is actually like watching these videos of like walkthroughs, you'll hear like people yelling like, "Oh my God, no, he went there! Oh, that!" Like
Overreact, like
overreact yelling.
heightened emotion.
And then you're like, "What is that? Why are they doing that?" And you look over and it's like a 50-year-old man doing
Yeah.
it. You're like, "Oh."
I see.
You're doing it for
I gotcha.
children. That's so fucking weird.
Yeah. Robert, well, I mean, if he's doing it for children, right? It's like a.
I don't think it's altruistic. It's just trying to
just
get their
clicks.
clicks. Yeah. It's
Robert,
not like I want to appeal to kids for their better natures. It's I want to appeal to kids so they get stuck in the algorithm.
Yeah.
And I get paid. Yeah.
Robert Monroe Jr. is in the chat saying, "What's up, Cold Poppers?" Well,
Hey.
Robert Monroe, thank you for joining us.
got a tattoo.
Junior, I got a tattoo. We watched movies, and we're about to talk about Five Nights at Freddy's.
Did you like it?
Brian, did you like it?
Spoilers or no spoilers?
Here's the thing.
No spoilers,
All right. So
but then we will spoil it.
I will tell
We'll
you.
tell you.
You'll get the gist of how I felt about it when I say that
I hated it.
I was ready to get into it, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's fun, kind of PG-13 horror, what have you.
Horror.
This could be fun.
Yeah.
And by the time the credits rolled, I had definitely watched a movie, right?
The first credits or the end credits?
The end credits.
Okay.
I had finished watching a movie. Was it the best movie I've ever seen? No.
I would never have assumed I was going in to watch the best movie I'm ever going to see.
No.
Was it the worst movie you've ever seen?
Top 5. Like,
Or bottom
Bottom
five.
five.
Or bottom 5,
Bottom
right?
five,
I mean,
yeah.
maybe, right? It did not appeal to me in
Sure.
any way at any point. There was like,
So 3 out of 5?
3 to 5, what? There,
Headaches? Stub
no,
toes?
yeah. So I get the sense there's a lot of movies out there that are like this, that maybe had I seen these, I would not say this one was so bad, right?
Yeah.
Because I would dislike them all equally.
Yeah.
But it was 39 minutes in of setup. The dialogue was horrendous.
Yeah.
The performances were fine, right? I didn't have any issues with those. I fast forwarded through portions of this movie because I just could not
Yeah.
stand to watch them. I'm like, this is the like.
Did you watch it by yourself?
multiple?
Or with
Yeah,
Tamara?
no, tomorrow I know she's watching this, and I know.
Don't blame her.
Yeah,
You
she
were
was
like,
out.
You were like, save yourself.
Right. And just the like
Remember me.
multiple unconnected,
Yeah.
far-fetched contrivances and plots that occurred. I guess it would make sense as a video game where this thing happens and then you never need to think about it again.
Yeah.
And why was this person doing this? And why are they saying these wild swings of emotion, especially from the policewoman who's like, "Hey, how are you?" Well, if that's your attitude, I'm going to lock you up.
Yeah.
Right? There was like, I
she
did
was
not
from
enjoy
You.
this film.
She was from You season 1.
Mm.
all I
Also,
got.
one of the Frozen ladies from Once Upon a.
Oh, that was
That's what you
her.
had said, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the Once
Vanessa.
Upon a Time lady.
Both two things
Yeah.
that I've never watched
Yeah.
and probably never watched.
Once Upon a Time was good.
But
I
I'm not saying
like-
it
first
wasn't.
time I've ever seen her.
I like this enthusiasm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It was
I like
just-
this. Tell me more.
There was not.
What else did you hate?
I hate. I don't carry hate for Five Nights at Freddy's in my heart because that would be letting it win over me. Right? And so,
Yeah.
yeah.
There are two people we don't let win:
Yeah.
terrorists
Yeah.
and Five Nights at Freddy's. Yeah.
And the person Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an entity.
Yeah.
It is. It's an infrastructure in its own.
It is.
Yeah.
Like the creatures within it.
Yeah.
It itself is systemically aware. And yeah, it was like, since we're not doing spoilers yet, the like sort of inciting subject, I was like, oh, and that happened.
Yeah.
What a horrible thing.
We should.
Yeah.
I want to get back to. All right. I'm excited for spoilers because I want to hear what you're talking about.
Oh, you don't. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would like him to say it. No,
Oh yeah.
take
Yeah.
it away.
Okay. Everything you said is correct,
Cool. Yeah,
except it didn't bother me as much because I
Yeah.
kind of knew what I was in for.
I can see, like, you're into the tropes that these people
well,
are doing.
it's-
yeah.
Still poorly done.
Yeah.
So, yes, it took 40 fucking minutes for the movie part to
To
start.
do anything.
There was so much lore, so much world building, and usually world building is like fun. It's like no, it's just it was a trudge. You could have easily shaved 25 minutes off of this movie. It would have been a tight as hell 85 minutes and would have been so fun. But the movie doesn't actually start until what normally would be the second act. Like it was
the
very
titular.
it was very very boring.
Right.
There was so much. I don't have a problem with the dialogue because, again, it's just like it tonally kind of works with what they were going for. This very melodramatic blah. But with that much time spent setting up, you notice how contrived it is. You notice how fucking convoluted everyone's connections are. You notice how someone is reacting. But if it was fast and loose, it would be less. You'd have less time to scrutinize it.
And you could say
And it
all
should
these
just be
lines,
fun.
and it could be fun
Mm-hmm.
instead of like, what?
It's a very like dark, self-serious movie in the middle of the most playful premise.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those two things did not complement each other in this format.
Nor does
But-
the premise ever really get.
But I enjoyed I'm glad I watched it.
Hmm.
I ultimately kind of enjoyed the whole second half.
Okay.
I like a couple of like obvious as shit reveals, and I actually do think the production value was great. Like I really, really liked all 5 of the main
yeah, they were well
baddies.
done.
Like
yeah.
it was just they like the aesthetics and the production value of the whole second half of the movie. I really, really liked. At the end of the day, I liked the main character, Josh Hutch, whatever the fuck his
Hutchinson?
name is. Yeah. Well, no, the actual character's name, whatever his name
Oh
is.
yeah. Josh Hutcherson.
I liked its character's name.
Yeah. Hutcherson.
Hutch.
Not
Hutch.
Hutchinson.
He
I
has
like by
trouble.
Hutchinson.
I liked Hutch.
Yeah.
Um,
Hutch. Oh, that's a good name.
Hutch?
I should
What-
name my kid Hutch. Shit.
I mean, that's
it too late?
You name him after the main character in Predator.
Oh, is it Hutch?
His
Yeah,
name's
Hutch.
Hutch?
Hi, Eddie. Eddie says
Hey,
howdy,
Eddie.
y'all.
Yeah, I liked. Obviously, I didn't like his backstory because it's horrific.
Yeah.
But they seeded a couple of really interesting things to get you to like a third act where he's controlling sleep and this, and it could have been wrapped up so really well and intertwined with each other, but it just
Yeah.
kind of falls off a cliff.
Yeah.
So there's so many like cool little pieces. If I was 13, this would have been my favorite movie. But with time and having seen really anything else in this vein, it's just fine.
There's so many seemingly thematically unconnected pieces.
Yeah.
That are not.
Which aren't a problem in a video game because you spend 25 to 30 hours with it.
Yeah. And
But
you're like,
as-
well, this is this part of the world.
As
And
one
they
single
don't need to
narrative.
connect.
Meanwhile, so like the audience scores for this are through the roof because all of these people are familiar with all the
Saw that.
connections.
You're just
The
like,
And
oh,
they're
yeah.
just like,
scores
oh,
are,
look,
did
oh,
you
look.
see what it was?
Yeah.
25%.
Yeah, critics 25%, but like audience is like
They're all about it.
89, 90%.
Yeah, yeah.
So like, this is exactly what it needs to be for the right people, but outside of that bubble, it's boring. It's
if it's a
its biggest
companion
sin
piece,
is boring.
right? Which things could be, right? A companion to some other thing, and like a DC Comics technical manual.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't stand on its own, except
yeah.
that.
Oh, you know what
Actually,
does
probably
stand on
would,
its
'cause
own
that show
though?
would be awesome. It is awesome.
The History of the Marvel Universe by Mark Wade with art by Javier Rodriguez.
Oh,
that
it's very
stands
good.
on
You
its
should
own.
read it if you haven't.
Yeah, if you can
Does it
get
come in
into-
like an oversized?
It's a
or-
treasury edition. It's not
Really?
quite soft cover. It's not quite hardcover. It's very malleable
It's
and
got a
in
little bit of like a
thicker way.
satiny kind
Yeah.
of cover. It's
Do you
very
have one of
lovely.
these?
I have one, and I've
Interesting.
purchased for other friends who shall not be
Really?
named. They're Len.
It's there, Len.
Yeah.
They
So-
shall not be named until right now.
Until right now.
Yeah, what do you think?
What'd you
JD?
think?
Well, I'll tell you.
Thank
I didn't hate it like you did. I may have actually liked it a little bit more than you did. Because my thought the whole time was, I've been of the mind that of the past couple of decades, horror movies for children don't really exist kind of like they did when I was a kid. To this day, one of my favorite kids movies, which is a horror film called The Gate, starring Stephen Dorff, is sort of a gateway. It's sort of what got me into watching more adult horror movies, the same way that you would read R.L. Stine and then Christopher Pike and then Stephen King, and that sort of that trajectory. This feels like a starting point, a gateway for kids to play the horror game, and there's like jump scares and stuff. And then I was actually quite impressed with the backstory of Hutch. I was like, oh, that's a whole thing. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if that comes from the video game
I don't know.
or if if this guy actually exists, other than like your nameless persona that you're inhabiting, right, to play the game. So I was actually like, oh wow, like his little brother went missing. He was in charge of him, and he got taken by somebody, and I bet it was somebody we see here on screen. So I was actually kind of impressed with that. And yeah, the dialogue's not great.
Yeah.
But I did think that the effects were great. I think they could have pushed the gore a little bit further.
And it may not have been gateway enough.
Yeah, gateway, yeah.
Yeah, because when we talked about Megan, this is also the same thing. Megan is very much a kind of a gateway horror
Yeah,
movie. It's
kinda
PG-13.
cutesy
It's
almost.
cutesy.
Yeah.
And what I didn't like about Megan was
M3, yeah.
Mithrigan, yeah.
tonally, it probably should have been a hard R,
Yeah.
and it just didn't want to like commit to it.
Yeah, if
Whereas
it had a little
this,
bit more of like silly.
this, if it went harder than it does, I don't know if it would work for me.
Yeah.
But I don't know
But
if
not
it
for
would
the
have
kids.
achieved the goal it wanted to.
Because
like, I
from
would
my
swap 'em.
understanding, like the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise as a game is geared, like it's very popular with the younger
Is that
crowd.
right?
Yeah, like 10 to 14.
Yeah, because it's all jump scares. There's no gore whatsoever in the first
Okay.
game.
No.
There's like hardly any
The
gore.
first part of the first game.
Yeah, the first two nights. It's 2 nights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Night 3 is a complete
Yeah.
blood orgy.
The first-
I have
Oh,
no
blood
idea.
orgy.
Yeah.
Yeah, 48,
orgy.
48 to 72 hours.
Yeah.
Just
Blood orgy.
blood fucking.
And then,
Yeah. Are you having sex
No,
with
the-
the blood, or is it
final-
just
what
What do you
around?
think that a blood orgy is?
yeah, have you not heard of blood fucking?
Come on.
I've heard, but nobody told me what it was, and I didn't feel like
You
I
walk
could
in and you
ask.
give your you
Yeah.
walk in and you give your blood type. It's the
You've
whole
never
thing.
felt like you were in a safe enough space
Yeah.
to ask about
But
blood
here,
fucking? Yeah.
broadcast to the world, I feel like I should ask.
I've in the discourse
I'm proud
about
of you.
this. So like horror Twitter is a little gatekeepy.
Oh, for sure.
And
blank Twitter.
No.
Well, we're going to talk specifically about horror Twitter.
Yes.
Horror Twitter is very gatekeepy, and the conversation of the discourse about this being a gateway horror movie, I'm all for it. Yeah, great. If kids love it, then that's who it's for. It's awesome. I am not a kid. I don't need a gateway. Judging by those metrics, I just think it could have shaved 25 minutes of
Sure, yeah.
extra plot, right? Just to make it leaner.
Especially if it's for kids.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Especially
They
if
don't wanna-
it's,
they're like,
this is a nearly
Yeah,
2
kids are always
hour
looking at their
movie.
watches.
This is constant. There's Spider-Man tattoos.
This is a nearly 2 hour movie, and it just
Oh, was
doesn't
it?
need to
It
be.
An
didn't
hour
even-
and
it did not
49
feel that
minutes.
long
It's
to me.
yeah, an hour and
It
50
felt
minutes.
slightly less like than that to me because
you were
as I fast forwarded
fast-forwarding?
through it. Yeah.
I guess maybe I guess maybe I enjoyed it way more than I thought I did because
was good.
it felt like a very short film to me.
Really?
I guess I was just in on that. Like his backstory was so engaging to me and so sad.
Well, and you'd
To
already
me,
been
like-
exposed to the idea of opening and closing doors.
Yes,
So that
yeah.
probably
That's
added a lot.
This is amazing.
Yeah, it's better because they walk in this movie.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. They move into rooms.
The main character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Has
but
agency.
If we're talking about gateway horror movies, you mentioned The Gate. Movies that are 10 times better than this, even though it's not that bad. Gremlins,
Yeah.
Great movie.
Goosebumps, Monster Squad, Beetlejuice, Ghostbusters, Tremors, Fright Night. Witches, Monster House, all better gateway horror movies and all
Krampus.
PG-13.
You know
It's
what?
fine.
Death Becomes Her
It's still
was
better
a
than
movie out around
Oh,
that
well,
time.
yeah, it's better than
which
this
I
by that
really-
metric.
I
Death
just
Becomes-
watched that the
Remember
other
that movie?
night.
Death
Yeah.
Becomes Her it's a satire more
It
than a horror.
is.
I don't know if that would be. Maybe it's gateway. Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Gateway.
it's a black
Yeah.
comedy.
It's a black comedy.
It was marketed as a black comedy, and I remember asking my mother,
What's that?
"Mom, I don't think there's any black people in this movie."
That's,
That's a problem in itself.
I think
I
that's
didn't know what black
most Robert
comedy-
Zemeckis movies.
Yeah. But I was like, "Mom, how come it's called
Yeah.
a black comedy? I don't get it."
Evil Dead 2 is a
And
better gateway horror movie.
Evil Dead 2 is not a gateway for kids.
Yeah, it is.
Depends
Okay.
on the kid.
It's like
I'm not gonna fist fight you about it.
it's
You're gonna
like
kick
it's
him?
all like puppets and weirdness and
Yeah.
blood of different colors and Three Stooges shit. Like it's kind of a kids movie.
Blood of different colors, Three Stooges shit. That's Gateway Horror.
Yeah, I mean like
Yeah.
there's green and sludge and goo and his
Yeah.
hand is all playful. I mean,
That's fine.
Army of Darkness is probably a better gateway.
That one.
Yeah,
I'll agree
Darkness.
with you on.
What
So,
about the
all right,
Addams Family? Yes.
So
Exorcist gateway movie.
let's do. Your mother sews socks in hell. Your
my God.
so
let's
What a thing to say.
let's jump to spoilers for Five Nights at Freddy's.
Here it comes.
it is all about child murder.
So much
Yeah.
child murder.
And
did no
Uncomfortably
how did no
about
one
child
smell them?
murder. That's what I'm thinking too. Their bodies are inside of those things, right?
Yeah. How
Yeah.
did nobody like? They must be oozing.
Well, and also they're like, they turned it all upside down and nobody thought to look. Why not?
Yeah.
These things are things that people can go inside, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
like,
well known.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
wildly normal that these fucking clamps just like attack.
right. Why would
like,
it?
Yeah.
And also, why would people go inside? They're animatronic or they are suits. What are the
Why are people in there?
animatronics do?
Yeah.
And
Well-
they have little power sources so that they can wander
Well,
around.
yeah,
They
yeah, they
specify
specified that.
earlier in the movie.
Well, maybe he just hid them in there. I guess
They're made for people to go in. Except
know what,
those
though?
clamps sometimes come
I-
down when they break.
I very much did like the reveal of the bunny. That was creepy.
that it was that guy.
Not, I mean,
That there
Right.
was a bunny
just the
who
bunny,
seemed to be
which was cool.
able the same way that I didn't realize we were doing that sort of. I didn't realize that there were ghosts in the things. It
Mhm.
could have just been AI gone AWOL.
That's-
So
yeah, that's
I
what
didn't
thought.
realize it was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
baby souls
Yeah.
commandeering these things. So the fact that this guy was just always having the same dream and sort of like dream warrioring
yeah, he's trying
his
to,
way
like,
through the
affect his
movie.
dream, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, so there's like an element to this that's a little supernatural. Like he's able to affect his own dreams and stuff like that.
And the
Not
ghost talks
so
to him
much.
in the dream.
Yeah.
They did, but that was one of the elements that I felt was like that doesn't seem to me to be part of this movie.
Right.
Like it's a different. So here's the thing: you mentioned you liked the scene, the craft of the scene where the brother is abducted. That
Yeah.
he's what, right? I thought that was really well done too.
Yeah.
Watching this movie, sort of a romp about these animatronic creatures that come to life. I was like, oh, this is an element. This is a plot element of this movie. Very
yeah.
well done. But I didn't think this is the thing that I was getting into watching this film.
Yeah.
Right,
Which is
Like,
why I was surprised. I was like, oh,
Right.
they're adding elements to this
now
that I did not foresee.
It dark.
but it's not like a fun
No,
thing, of course.
no,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Not like audio animatronics could
Yeah.
be fun, killing
Yeah.
people, whatever. But that movie and the dream thing seems like an interesting story
Yeah.
on its own that I would not mind seeing expanded into a
In
different
a
movie.
better movie.
Yeah.
What was the big thing? Is that the big thing you wanted to talk about earlier?
That was the
kid.
thing. That
That
I
was
was
the
just
thing.
like, oh, now I'm watching a movie about child abduction? Like,
Yeah.
that's hard to have
there's
fun while watching.
Something about the pacing of all those subplots coming together really did bug me too. Like, if this movie was only 80 minutes long, the speed with which they revealed like 4 things in a row at the beginning of the third act wouldn't have bothered me.
Mhm.
But I spent 45 minutes
Right.
set up, and then all of a sudden,
Right.
2 minutes of
Bam, bam, bam,
he
bam, bam.
sees a picture of a plane. When did you know? How did you know? That's my father. Oh my God.
Yeah.
He's still like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
dude.
Right.
Like it
And
was
she's
it was
clearly
like
got-
all set up and then just a
Yeah.
shit ton of like info dump, and you're like, this is awfully paced. Just awfully paced.
Yeah, it was awfully paced. It was, like I was sitting there, I'm watching it, and when they finally get to a scene where the
Are you just reaching
Freddy's
to hold his hand?
No,
Yeah.
there's like drop. No, nothing. Good. Continue.
I really want you to.
the
oh,
Freddy's
Don't
guys.
touch. Oh.
This is nice. This is nice.
We'll get through it, you guys.
Oh, I'm through it.
We're like 4 nights in now.
So the the lead up to this scene is equally ridiculous, where the babysitter, right, who is watching. All right, she's watching the sister. It is revealed at some point that this is his sister.
Yeah.
Right, and she's watching it, and he's like, one of these days I'll pay you for sure.
Yeah.
The kind of thing that you might say to a friend that is watching your child, and they're like, don't worry about it, man. You're going through a hard time. A couple scenes later.
No, next scene. Not a couple scenes later. It's
next scene.
Literally a smash cut into the diner.
Right.
Yeah.
She is working for the nefarious aunt.
Yeah.
And is trying to sniff out dirt on this guy, this mustache twirling aunt.
Yeah.
And she's been babysitting for him for, I guess, a little while, has found nothing.
Yeah.
And is like, well, why does he think she keeps coming back if he's not paying her?
Yeah.
Oh, just friends. So that didn't
Right.
bother me.
Okay.
But that entire subplot
Right.
could be removed from the movie with
Zero
there-
consequence to the
there-
film.
there is enough narrative
better.
not friction stakes or drama
Mhm.
with a PTSD tortured adult sibling having to take care of the kid.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
That's actually enough. A whole layer of
Like the aunt
subplots
wants
with an
to
evil
take-
aunt and paying a drug addicts or deadbeats to do
Right.
this, to do that, to mess up his job, to do
Right.
this. Like, why?
Also,
Yeah.
to mess
Like-
up his job when he is not there and could not be held responsible for that event.
It's
Yeah.
it's like it literally could just be people breaking in to
Right.
get that information. It has nothing to do with the extra 15 minutes of plot
Right.
that is slapped on top of this movie.
Can someone tell me why Matthew Lillard, who is obviously the bad guy because he's Matthew Lillard, although I will
Wasn't he also
say,
Shaggy?
I was kind of like, oh, like it didn't get me right away.
really? Oh, as
Well,
soon
it
as he
wasn't
showed
like
up,
a-
I was like, oh, he's probably the bad guy.
I wanted
Wasn't he
so
Shaggy in the Scooby-Doo movies?
Yes. But
So
he's also
Not a bad
from
guy.
Scream films.
I didn't think he was like gonna be man in suit stabby, but I knew that he was not right.
Yeah.
I actually thought it was just gonna be like a eerie cameo at the beginning of the movie, and then he was done. After that whole like fun voiceover over the phone
Yeah.
describing to him
Yeah,
the job,
yeah.
I literally did not think I was gonna
Which
see
is-
that motherfucker again for the rest of the
Which
movie.
is how the game starts.
Yeah.
Like you're in the security office,
Yeah.
you're able to look around and stuff, and the message machine is playing a message from the previous security guard.
Speaking of which,
I did not think I was
this
gonna see
movie
him
is
again.
set in the 90s.
Yeah.
With no explanation
Reason?
of that
Yeah.
or apparent reason.
Unless maybe they're working towards a timeline with sequels. Like maybe they're making their way to a
Oh,
certain
one.
I think the first game
Yeah.
is actually just takes place in the 90s.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, I
Yeah.
think that I'm okay. A lot of movies are doing that now. I'm
Just
actually
edit
okay
it,
with
yeah.
that. Not even for nostalgia purposes. It's to like take away script problems that
About cell phones
about
and
cell
that kind of
phones
thing,
and
yeah.
computers and
And I
just
guess-
look it up type of bullshit.
To be fair,
Yeah.
when I see a movie set in the 1850s, it doesn't always say the 1850s at
Yeah,
the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
You just
it's
get
just
it.
time and
just know.
place. Yeah.
Yeah.
so my question is,
Yeah.
why did he hire him? Why did he hire Hutch?
Oh, because he recognized the name. That's
no,
exactly.
I understand that.
Why was he
didn't-
looking for anyone? Is
he
that
did-
what you're wondering?
No.
Oh.
He wanted to hire somebody who's probably going to die.
Uh-huh.
No.
He didn't want to hire anyone.
Oh, he didn't.
He saw the name
Yeah, but
and recognized
why
it
would
was this kid that I took, and I'm gonna go set him up to be like.
a
the
new
next-
to be murdered.
Wait,
Yeah,
what was that guy in
basically.
the beginning? I guess in the security guard in the beginning
Huh.
who has a different uniform than the guy does.
Oh, they were
He only
just
gets
they
a
just
vest.
both worked at the mall.
No. Sorry. The very first scene of the movie
Yeah.
is that security guard who gets killed
Oh
in
yeah.
Oh, that's
right.
Fazbear's Fazborium.
Faz-
And
Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria.
yes, that's the one.
Fazborium.
Fazium.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So he gets killed in the beginning. What are these bears up to? That like, so he feeds them security guards, but also I guess when the opportunity to have a playmate came along,
So
they were into it, but they didn't seem to be particularly antagonistic towards.
I don't think it's. I don't
the
think it's.
guy.
I don't think there's a larger purpose for it. It's just this guy's in an opportunity to get rid of people he wants to by putting them there. It's not like a
interesting.
must feed for the ritual. It's just more like
I just liked it or whatever.
Well, I mean, he's a fucking sociopath. Like,
Yeah,
he's a
yeah.
psychopath that kills
His motives
things
cannot
and
necessarily
people.
be explained by
That's,
rational means.
yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, it's not, it was just like didn't care for him, wanted to do away with him, notice his last name. Now we know that it's also because he took his brother and noticed the last name.
Right,
He's
right.
just like, here's this
let's
place.
do it.
It's probably not a real job that's on real books.
That makes sense.
It's just
he just does that for a living.
he's
and
just
he happens to
a fucking psychopath and sets people up to be
Yeah.
murdered for pleasure.
So here's my other question. He says, I can't work nights, right?
Yeah.
Presumably because he has to like be around to look after
His
his
little
sister,
sister, yeah.
right? But
Who I didn't I was like, that's his sister, not his daughter?
no, they didn't make that clear until about 35 minutes in.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's his sister?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe that wasn't in the early drafts of the
Yeah.
script. And so he doesn't want to work nights, presumably because of that. But then I get the sense later that it's so that he can keep sleeping to keep dreaming, right? And he keeps sleeping at work. Like, he needs this job.
Yeah.
And as far as he knows, it's just a regular job, but he takes sleeping pills
Yeah.
at the job. Why not just sleep in his off hours?
Yeah.
Was he sleeping as a mall security guard too? Does he do that all the time?
Well, no, he was able to sleep at night,
Yeah.
and now he's working nights. So
Why can't he sleep during the day?
because he
'Cause
has
the
the
kid.
sister and the
Sister.
kid and yada yada. I'm sure he
But
can
he
get
has
a couple.
a babysitter.
I'm sure he can get a couple winks in overnight, not all day long.
I guess.
It was
Yeah.
it was fine enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, but so anyway,
And if anything, it was more important to establish his determination to continue his patterns of sleep
he's got to do
by
that.
doing it on the job.
Which
like, it
at
was-
some
it was
point
more
seemed
of a
like maybe
character
he
choice.
can change the past, but then no, not at all. Which
Yeah.
is fine, but it's but it would be nice. So the thing that I was mentioning earlier was you get the babysitter, amateur investigator kind of person, and they break in, and that is when the creatures first kill people, right?
Yeah.
And that's about 40 minutes in. And also completely unconnected to anything that is happening with the main character. It's
Yeah.
just like, oh, these people are here.
Oh well, that's horror.
They're going
movies.
to die.
Yeah.
And I was like, by that point, that's the first time that I fast forwarded through. I'm like, there's not, come on.
as two people that watch a lot of horror movies,
Yeah.
there needs to be fodder, like just
Okay.
extra characters.
Yeah.
My umbrage with it is that those extra characters did not at all need to be involved with the main plot so much as they're just extra characters.
See, that's what I'm saying.
to
Like,
throw them
right.
into the grinder to show you what the stakes are for the main characters.
Like
not
the
necessarily
security guard
them.
in the very beginning, right?
Yeah, perfect
If they're
example.
just there, it's fine. But they're kind of connected
Yeah,
to him,
and yeah.
yet not at all thematically connected to what the five Freddy's characters are all about.
This is
Right.
you know?
this is the problem / pleasure of having seen hundreds of thousands of hours of this type of content. Like
Mhm.
during that whole opening sequence, instead of necessarily enjoying it, I know in the back I enjoy it on the surface, but in the back of my head I know we will see this replayed with characters we do know.
Mm.
Right now we're witnessing how it doesn't work, so we instinctively just kind of know how bad it can go for the person we want to root through it. Like it's just
Sure.
it's just the Chekhov's gun kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
But it was done so
Yeah.
sloppily.
Yeah. And
Or-
so late
yeah.
into the movie.
Yeah, so late into
Right?
the movie.
Like you would expect a little
Yeah.
hint like that to be about 15 minutes.
With
in,
that said,
you know?
who's your favorite animatronic? I'm going Cupcake. That fucking Cupcake's
okay,
the shit.
Okay,
Which one's
so
which?
me and Alice and Costa watched it together, friends of mine. And Alice from the Inside the Morgue podcast. You should check them out. They real morgue workers talking about morgue scenes in TV and movies and whether or not they are accurate. Very good podcast. So we all watched it together, and all of us were going, "Who the fuck's the Cupcake?" Right?
Oh, the thing that can fly?
The king, the most gnarly of all of the beasts,
Right.
Like who tears everybody to shreds.
All right. Yeah.
Seems the most deadly of all of them is this floating adorable cupcake.
Right.
But like, is it just a sidekick to one of the ghosts, or does it have a ghost in there that we don't know about, or what's the cupcake?
I'm not sure the ghosts are
Chica-
stuck in just one thing. Because
I thought they had their own.
that's what I thought at
bots.
first too.
It was
But
like
then I thought the blonde kid,
It's Freddy.
that's Freddy.
Yeah.
I thought he
The
was
only
in
one that
more
really
than
talks
one.
is Freddy. No, so like when they show all 5 of the kids together,
Yeah.
they are standing in the same exact kind of
Uh-huh.
formation that the animatronics do.
Huh.
and they kind of have costumes that look a little bit like it. So like the blonde kid that the only one that talks is Freddy.
Yeah.
He's wearing a brown T-shirt.
So it's a little boy
The
named
Fox
Freddy
kid.
that works at Freddy. That.
No, I'm
He
just
doesn't work
saying
there,
it's
Jay.
Freddie
Oh,
because
main
that's
kid.
just yeah.
Oh, okay. It's not
That's
actually his
just-
name. Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
the
I was
bear's
like, man,
name
that's
is Freddy.
really-
I don't
okay.
really know.
That's fine.
Poor murdered child has no name.
Number
Right.
one.
Yeah.
I only kill them
Blo-
if they have the same name as the character
As the
that I'm
character,
planning on
yeah.
putting them
Blonde
inside.
dead kid.
Cupcake has been
Yeah.
very difficult.
It's been rough. They are all like they are stuck in. They only possess the one. I did not even think about the cupcake, just that it was an extension of Chica.
Okay.
So I'm assuming it's just an extension of Chica, not necessarily like must be another half soul. Like
No.
it's just
yeah.
Seems to have its own
Agency.
agency. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
But anyway,
Free will.
Cupcake is my favorite.
As do like a puppy.
Cupcake's my favorite.
Yeah, me too.
Got to go Cupcake.
Sure. I mean,
You
Yeah.
hate all of them.
I don't hate. No, they were cool.
You
right?
harbor hate for them.
What
in your
about
heart.
what about the
No, that's
fox with the patch on his eye
blood.
for some fucking reason? Yeah.
What?
What's that?
The fox with the patch on his eye.
He was cool.
The other bear, the blue one.
Blue.
I thought he was
one.
like a wolf.
They're two bears.
Two bears, a fox,
Cupcake.
a cupcake, and what bird? Was there a bird?
Yeah,
in
there was like a Mexican bird, right?
Chica.
Was it
It
Mexican?
was
Oh.
it was a chicken.
All
It was
right.
a chick.
Chick the chicken. Yeah, I mean that fox one was pretty cool. No, I didn't have any issue with the mechanical designs. You know, they were well done. Just like the performances. You know, I mean, I thought the actors all did a decent job doing what they were doing.
Bonnie,
Yeah.
Chica.
Mhm.
So it's Chica and the cupcake.
Chica and the Cupcake.
Oh, okay.
Was that a 70s detective show?
Yeah. Bonnie, Chica and the cupcake, Foxy, Freddy. Just 4?
Well, maybe the Cupcake.
Maybe
was
the
5.
rabbit is the 5th one.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, there's 5 nights, not 5
Not
Freddys.
5 Freddy's.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
What? All right, we're gonna go real quick. What
Here we
was
go.
your favorite part of the movie? Because I have a favorite part.
I actually think the final fight was lame. Wasn't very fun, but I think that the movie, the entire like third act reveal, because they've been seeding this bunny the whole time, and the third act reveal, they get away from, you know, the animatronics, and just the way that it's shot and framed with the bunny in the animatronic suit kind of coming through the archway and like tilting his head down was wildly effective, and I really, really dug it. And I was like, I want to see this guy more.
Yeah.
I want him to be a big kaiju monster. Like I want that aesthetic throughout the whole movie. I thought it was really, really cool.
I think that
The credits.
when
The end credits.
I didn't sit through them, but the
There was a credit scene.
there was a credit scene.
Oh, was there?
Oh, you didn't see it? I
What
made
was it?
them.
Fucking idiot.
Well,
Oh.
actually, it ties to my favorite
Oh, it was a bunny,
part
not
of
another
the
bear.
movie.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. Go on.
That scene where Freddy gets into the cab. That was
that
fun.
was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Oh,
that was the
What the
post-credits
fuck happened with his face? Okay.
Whose face?
I did not understand what was going on. Something must have been cut. Freddy looks normal as he does.
scene.
Uh-huh.
Little boy.
No,
The-
when I say Freddy, the
the bear
animatronic.
Okay, great.
The little
Alright.
boy has no name. He doesn't
Okay.
matter.
Little boy.
He's just
Okay.
dead.
Okay.
Oh,
Don't worry about it.
All right.
God. I
Freddy,
didn't get that.
the
Jeez.
bear,
Freddy the Bear.
in one scene at the pizza place, he is normal, fine. When he shows up at her house,
Mhm.
his eye is missing and his ear is gone. And then the
Ah.
next scene, when they're back at the place,
Uh-huh.
he's back to normal.
Oh.
There is a giant continuity problem,
Oh, I
and
missed
I
it.
Interesting.
I didn't even.
I
notice
literally
that.
paused it and was
Huh.
just like, and I asked my wife, like,
What happened?
did I miss an entire sequence
Huh.
where he got busted up because
And
he's
then
standing
fixed
there
himself.
with no eye, like he literally has
Huh.
no eye and a broken ear.
I wonder if that scene originally took place after the fight. Freddy makes it back to their house and kills the ant and has been damaged in that fight. Because you said he goes back to not being damaged right
Yeah.
after that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if there
Maybe
was
they
a
moved it.
different thing that
There was
happened.
another editing thing where movies chugging along, blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden it just cuts immediately from one scene to him and what was his name, Hutch, and
It's-
cop lady.
Actually, his name is Mike Schmidt.
Mike Schmidt.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, Mike Schmidt.
I did. They
our
said
main
that, and I was
character.
like, "Oh, that's weird."
Mike Schmidt is
Because
there.
Schmidt is such a recognizable name that 15 years before you remember that last name of the child that you abducted and connected it.
So Mike
Huh.
Schmidt, our main character?
Yeah.
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 Mike Schmidt is
William.
all of a sudden outside of Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria
Mhm.
and is talking to the cop,
Mhm.
and he just goes, I don't know what to say. It was clear. It was such a weird cut and a weird jump that all three of us were like, that was definitely like something was cut out
At
of
what
this movie.
at what point in the movie was
In the
this?
middle.
Oh, I don't
And it was
remember
just
that
like there was
scene.
no reason for them to be outside, no
Right.
reason for him to be saying, I don't know what to say.
Huh.
And it's just
weird.
like it was. They just went in media res. They were just like,
Yeah.
middle. Let's just cut to the middle of another scene. Don't worry.
He doesn't
about
know what to say. It's
Yeah.
not going to matter.
That's right.
Yeah.
So,
you know what? I mentioned it earlier in the pre-spoilers, but her like turns on a dime.
Yeah.
Are crazy. They're like crib notes from a story, like where she's like, "Hey, I wanted to let you know the place was broken into.
Yeah.
I found these sleeping pills. What are you, whacked out on sleeping pills? Hey, I'm taking you to jail
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
you can't remember to lock a door." It's like, was the door unlocked? Was it broken into? Because I think it was broken into.
Yeah, yeah,
Right? Why are you treating him in this way?
yeah.
And she's just like these quick, like, back and forths in the way where it's like,
Well,
hey,
to
how
be
are
fair-
you? Hard-nosed cop. Hard-nosed cop.
To be fair, she was raised by a serial killer.
That's true.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's the yeah, that
should cut
subplot
her
was
some
so
slack.
weird. Well, it wasn't weird. Like it
I
it was
assume
fine.
she was luring the children to the car so that they could drive off of them.
During, when she was a kid.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was wondering because he sees her in the forest, I think, and the kid follows her, I think, to the car. So I think she was
Oh, I didn't
like, I
catch
don't know
that.
if she was knowing exactly what was happening at the time, but I was under the impression he was using her to lure other kids into the
Oh,
car,
I think
which is even worse.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
her
Very dark.
her motivation I think was fine. Just the way that it was portrayed wasn't very nuanced, and I don't blame that on the actress. It's just more along the lines of like, yes, I am afraid of this man,
Yeah.
and I actually care about these kids that are stuck in these machines, so I want to protect them, but not protect my father. So just go away. Like I squared that circle fine. I just think it was very haphazardly done.
Yeah.
Like there was really no drama. So like in the way the scenes were portrayed, there was no drama so much as whiplash.
That's what the script says.
Yeah.
Guess I'll say it.
Yeah, basically.
My favorite thing of the movie was when we find out at the end that Matthew Lillard is the guy.
Yeah.
He does the scream
Oh, yeah.
wipe. And I was like, ah! Yeah, we were very excited about that. Otherwise, I would say I give Five Nights at Freddy's 2.5 nights. at
2.5
Freddy's
nights at Freddy's. All right.
out of 5.
Out of 5 nights at Freddy's. Okay.
What do you give it?
0.
0 nights at Freddy's.
I would say
1 afternoon.
Don't take it literally. Use it as a metaphor. What would you actually rate this movie? Like not
1. I mean, what do you mean?
Well, no,
That's
not literally. How many nights would I stay in this place?
Oh, no,
like-
I was just treating that
okay.
as
I just want to make sure.
blanks.
Those
no,
are
no, no,
stars.
no, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I was thinking like
Sometimes you riff that way, man.
I do. I didn't think
Yeah.
about it this time. Yeah, I would not watch this movie. I saw the Spirit Halloween movie last year. It was about as good as that, but I watched that with some friends and we joked around during it. But I'm not a so bad it's good kind of guy.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just
I want it to be good.
I want to watch something so good it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think 2.
2. Okay,
2.
yeah.
Okay.
That tracks, I think. Yeah, that all
Yeah.
tracks.
You know what?
So
I should give it at least 1 for the good things about it. The animatronics, the acting, it was fine. One night at Freddy's.
1 Night at Freddy's.
Yeah.
Solid.
There you
fine,
go.
Yeah. So I was under the impression. So we watched Five Nights at Freddy's, and I kept hearing about another movie called Willy's Wonderland. Yeah, baby. Which is a movie starring a guy I don't particularly have a fondness for, Nick Cage. I know that everyone loves him. Exactly.
Yeah.
I find him to be off-putting. I feel like he does a whole thing that I don't get
don't
into.
like his manner.
The whole Nick Cage of it.
What
all.
about that movie that he was in?
I like that.
Yeah.
That's great.
See?
But I was like, murder animatronic musicians,
Yeah. Is it like the Chucky
anamorphic?
audio animatronics? Anthropomorphic.
Anthropomorphic.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I should probably watch Willy's Wonderland.
Okay.
And I was just curious how good it would be compared to Five Nights at Freddy's. And on my way to watch that, I saw that on Hulu there was
Your way.
Yeah.
See you strolling down the street.
I feel the same about Tobey Maguire, says Sam. Hate him.
Oh.
What
What about that one? What
about that one movie he
he
was in?
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
You
How
like
did you
that?
feel about that?
Yeah.
Plank
There was
of wood.
another movie called The Hug, which was a 5-minute Hulu short.
Okay.
And it was featuring another animatronic musical anthropomorphic
Oh.
creature.
Uh,
How
how'd you
and
think?
that was
How'd you feel about it?
cute. It was
Yeah,
cute.
you like that one?
Yeah, that was
Okay.
cute. It was a nice little. I love a good horror short.
Okay.
In and out, a little bit
Yeah.
of spook, good stuff. And then I continued on my path to Willy's Wonderland, which is on Hulu right now. It's rated R, directed by Kevin Lewis, starring Nicolas Cage, Kaylee Cowan, and people in costumes. Would you wet puppets?
No, these are not wet puppets.
Was Five Nights at Freddy's wet puppets?
Nope.
Okay.
They weren't wet.
When his car breaks down, a quiet loner agrees to clean an abandoned family fun center in exchange for repairs. He soon finds himself waging war against possessed animatronic mascots while trapped inside Willy's Wonderland.
Oh.
I had to Google. Oh, Matthew McConaughey too. Had to Google his stupid name.
Did you misspell McConaughey?
Did you Google who's that guy I hate?
Yeah. Hey Google. Who's that guy who says all right a lot?
All right.
Despite my
You were
intentions,
into it.
I loved Willy's Wonderland.
Well.
I like I said, I don't like Nicolas Cage, but he did not say much, which was a blessing. He did his normal thing where, like, I've got this character. What if he's got these idiosyncrasies
Yeah.
that I'm just gonna make up? He sets a timer and has to have a energy drink exactly
Yeah,
at a
that's
certain
Nicolas
time.
Cage, all right.
Like,
I mean, that was
and-
Matchstick Man.
and- what's that?
That was Matchstick Man.
Was
But-
it?
I mean, yes, but that was part of that character. Is he has all these habits?
Yeah.
Obsessive compulsive disorder. But
And like in Ghost
good.
Rider,
It
he's
was a
like,
good
what
movie.
if I drank martinis out of a martini glass? But wait, hold on, guys.
Huh.
It's fire-colored jelly beans. Isn't that kooky? I'm Nicolas Cage.
Such a hater.
I'm a hater.
was this his decision? And
Yeah, you can tell that he adds these little things to his characters.
what's a fire-colored jelly bean?
It's
like?
red and orange and yellow.
Oh, they're different.
He just
colors.
ate
Okay.
jelly beans out of a
martini glass.
You know, there's actually apparently a lot of stars do that, or at least some will have a script doctor that is their employee
Yeah.
that will make it like,
More
all
to
right, I have this image as a movie star. Add a line here and a line there
Yeah.
that fits into my persona.
Mhm.
I get the sense it doesn't happen as much as it used to because
Right.
movie stars aren't as much of a thing. You know,
That's
they're not
true,
like
yeah.
this guy in this movie
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Nick Cage takes everything seriously. Everything.
Hmm.
And he's incredibly playful. So like he picks a movie like this, and obviously you pick a movie like this because you're playful, but you take every aspect of it as seriously as humanly possible. And I think that that's fascinating.
Yeah,
I love
he
it.
is a fascinating character.
Yeah.
And I do not hate every movie he's in.
Hmm.
There have been what I was getting to is a glut of films by him that I did not expect to love, and I wound up loving them. So
Such as?
maybe I don't hate Nicolas Cage
It
as much
seems
as
like
I
you
thought.
don't.
I love Willy's Wonderland.
Uh-huh.
I'm now really excited for Mandy, which I haven't seen yet.
Uh-huh.
I loved Mom and Dad. Dad and Mom?
Everybody
Mom and
knows
Dad.
it.
Mom and
Mandy
Dad?
is really fucking weird. I'm very
I know.
interested in hearing your.
Yeah, I can't wait to
It's-
see it. Do you have
it's
it on
like-
VHS?
I do. I have it on VHS and
Can I borrow it?
Blu-ray. I think.
Nice. And then I'm trying to remember. There was a couple other movies.
Did you see
recently.
Renfield?
Renfield. I love Renfield.
That's awesome,
We
right?
talked about it on the show.
Yeah.
The unbearable weight of.
Massive
the-
talent.
Yes,
Love
that was great.
movie.
It was
Like,
awesome.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's been a
Cage-
Cage-a-sance
How about
in my
Matchstick?
heart.
How about Matchstick Men?
That was like 20 years ago.
Did
in
Did
my
you
mind.
like it?
Probably.
It's a good movie.
I remember liking The Weatherman. That
I
was
never
him
saw
too,
that,
right?
but it looked cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Brian, we did not
Hey.
ask you to watch this movie.
You did not.
I thought we tortured you enough with Five Nights at Freddy, but
yes. And
Noel
not because
had
of the horror part.
Nope.
Did you? I want to know? Did somebody cause his car to break down on purpose?
Yes.
Aha.
Spoiler alert.
Wait, did they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So I mean, we're gonna go full spoilers for Willy's Wonderland because it is years old at this
No
point.
matter what, you can watch it.
So
It's your birthday, and we want you to have fun.
What is
My
that?
wife
Is that
sings
Chuck
that
E.
all the
Cheese?
time.
Yeah.
That's the song in Willy's Wonderland. Like
Oh,
every
all
time the animatronics go on, they sing the birthday song, which is like a new birthday song.
Sure. Well,
And
they don't want
it's-
to pay the
and
royalties
it's-
to those girls.
It's a
those
goddamn
ladies.
earworm, and
Yeah.
we still to this day sing it to each other.
So yeah, Nicolas Cage doesn't say a word in the entire film.
Oh.
And he's just
No
the man
dialogue.
with no name
Mhm.
from the spaghetti westerns. I can't stand Owen Wilson, which is why I haven't finished watching Loki 2 and struggle through Loki 1.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
Robert.
Oh,
I find him to be very charming.
each their
I
own.
like
Me
Owen
too.
Wilson.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, it turns out he hits one of those police barbed
The
wire
spiky
things, the spiky things on
Yeah.
the road.
Yeah.
And the whole town is in on this thing.
The whole
so
town.
The whole town is in on this. It's basically child's play
Mhm.
with more characters.
Mhm.
In that there is a satanic ritual. There are killers. They lure children into families into a specific room in Willy's Wonderland
Okay.
and have do the murders on them.
Oh.
And then the police come to get them, and they find they have
Police
all
are in on it too.
no. They come to get them.
Oh.
And they find that the killers have
Uh-huh.
all had a satanic ritual and killed themselves, and put their souls into the bodies of these animatronics.
Oh, this all happened in
creatures.
the backstory.
Yeah, this is all backstory.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
the
It's
town.
But
very
like
much-
the family is in. I'm sorry, the town is on it now. They feed people to.
It's a feed the beast kind of
gotcha.
plot line of
Okay.
like
Yeah.
we are safe because we keep feeding.
Oh, okay. Like
Yeah.
otherwise they'll come after us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
they will set up passers through or
Mhm.
street toughs or blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Put them in a desperate situation
good
where they
nicks.
have to put them in a
Street toughs and no
desperate
good nicks.
situation where they have to work for this place for a night. Hey, just clean it up or blah blah blah,
Yeah.
and then they become
And
prey.
we'll fix your car up. Like
Now-
your car is busted. It's got 4 tires. I
Yeah.
can fix it up. It's going to take $1,000.
Uh-huh.
I only take cash. Do you have any cash? No.
No.
Well,
Oh, here
we
we
can
go.
give you this job
Yeah,
overnight.
yeah.
You clean the place up. I'll
Yeah.
fix it for you for free.
Like, I'm going to call AAA.
You rest.
Yeah.
He doesn't talk.
yeah.
Well,
so
he can't talk.
Is it no good Nick?
Oh,
No
here's the-
talker.
Here's the
No
thing.
good,
here's
no
the thing.
talking.
The choices for the character are wild.
Yeah.
He looks like a weird mob enforcer.
Uh-huh.
He wears crazy boots,
Boots.
and on a he has a trunk filled with this mysterious energy drink.
Uh-huh.
And every time the beeper goes off on his watch, which seems like every like 90 minutes or something,
Yeah, pretty often.
he chugs a
Mhm.
drink,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it.
Nope. And he plays.
Oh, and plays. Well, that's his
there's a
break.
pinball machine.
He plays pinball at
Okay.
the Freddy's Fair.
Yeah.
Is any of this
Freddy's-
touched on later or explained in any way?
No. So
Okay.
my headcanon
Yeah.
is he is an immortal being that is being kept alive by this energy drink
Okay, yeah.
and is able to best
That
because
makes
he's
sense.
also an adept fighter
Okay.
and a very very capable
Mhm.
Yeah.
hero.
He's
Right?
also very good at cleaning.
Oh.
He's incredible.
And
at
He is
cleaning.
had a long
really-
time to
He's
figure
a,
this out.
he's a machine, and the wheels
Yeah.
are greased
Yeah.
only with this energy
That
drink.
makes sense. And he does not die, which supports your immortal theory.
Yeah.
Well, I feel
Right?
like maybe immortal was the wrong.
Could
He
be.
is everlasting as long as he stays on his regiment.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Okay,
Yeah.
I understand. But
Like a
the fact
vampire with blood.
remains,
Yeah.
like a vampire with blood, or like a person with food. Yeah.
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 Like one of those. I've heard of him. I've heard of him.
Like sustenance.
Yeah, exactly. And then
But
if
it-
you eat it, you keep living.
The idiosyncrasies of this very weird fucking movie take it over the edge of just over the premise.
Okay, right,
Whereas,
right.
So like Five Nights at Freddy's. I was gonna say Freddy got fingered. Five Nights at Five Nights at
Five Nights
Freddy's.
of Fingering Freddy.
Five Nights at Freddy Fingers. Is incredibly straightforward, very linear,
Yeah.
dark ass backstory in order to like make it kind of make sense. Willy's Wonderland is just fucking weird, and
Okay.
it's
I
and
I
it's
think
just
it's so fun.
shot out of a cannon.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now
It understood
product-
the assignment.
the production value
Oh,
is fucking awful.
Yeah.
okay.
Like
Okay.
That's
the movie is cool. Everything
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage is in is cool. Everything that stays in the shadows is cool. As soon as there's like the people in costumes have to engage in action,
awful.
it looks like a Saturday Night Live skit where somebody has to like wrestle a stuffed animal.
Yeah. Like, oh no,
Like,
there's a
I
rabbit.
would.
Yeah.
They should have gone like old school horror movie where you see absolutely nothing, or
Yeah.
it's all
Uh-huh.
wild, quick cuts and just like a hand, or
Yeah.
like then it would have worked. But they go the extra mile and show how bad the production value is.
Yeah, and the thing
And it's
about
like it's not
Five
charming.
Nights,
It's just like, oh fuck.
the thing about Five Nights that I think works way better than Willy's Wonderland is these are people in suits.
Sure.
One of the animatronic creatures is literally a woman in a dress wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Like M3gan.
Yeah.
Not unlike.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even
not unlike.
M3gan was actually better. But yeah, this like the nut. It very clearly was just people in rubber suits or whatever.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
I guess fuzzy suits. As opposed
That's
to
why
Five
it's not
Nights
wet
in
puppets.
Freddy. Yeah, you're right.
Five Nights in Freddy.
Five Nights
Five,
Inside Freddy.
Nights fingering Freddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two.
I think Five Nights in Freddy is the sequel.
Five Nights in Freddy's fingers.
Five Nights with Freddy's fingers.
Is that those actually felt kind of animatronic at
Yeah.
times.
oh, very much so. I thought that. Yeah. it was
So
good.
I want to splice Nicolas Cage out of Willy's Wonderland and insert him into
That'd be pretty cool.
Five Nights at Freddy's. So
And the
like
production value would be about equal to
ramped
the
up.
Willy's
I want to
Wonderland.
see him take his breaks with the pinball machine and do the Nicolas Cage shit.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He even has like a little dance
the
scene
fucking
for no
finger
reason.
guns.
That sounds cool.
It's great.
And he,
Okay.
does,
Everyone-
he, does,
it's-
he literally does like this. He's
it's
like
available
playing his
on
game,
Hulu.
Yeah.
and he's just doing this.
We just
for
had the
no
energy
reason.
drink.
Oh, Sam says maybe he just sucks at staying awake all night. That brings me to my favorite part of
The
that
very
whole
end.
little thing where he has to. The beep beep happens on the watch.
Sure.
Here it is. It's over
I
here.
know what an alarm
The
is.
beep beep happens on the watch, and he goes to drink his thing.
Sure.
He's literally about to save the girl who's one of the main characters, who have her and her friends have
Oh, there's
made
other
their,
humans?
yes,
Oh.
Yeah.
her and her friends have made their way in here because they want to torch the place because they know all about the curse of what's
Sure.
happening.
Okay. Why didn't they do that from the outside?
They tried.
Okay.
There's a whole thing.
All right.
And
glad they
so
addressed that.
he's about to help her. She's
Yeah.
about to go head to head to one of the animatronic creatures.
Okay.
He's unstoppable.
It goes
by the way.
off,
Sure. Of course.
and so he leaves her there
He's got to take his
to
energy
go
drink.
take his energy drink
Yeah.
and play pinball, and then come
That
back
makes
to
sense.
wrap
Oh,
up
he has
the
to play
fight.
pinball too.
Yeah.
It's
part
like
of
a
it.
5-minute break
Yeah.
thing. So like
You know what? I
It
bet
just, you know what? It's self-care.
it makes sense.
it makes
and
him,
I think
it makes him more capable.
this really lends support to your theory about his supernatural existence, that he can't just take the energy drink with him, right? It has to stay in
He
the
does
group
not-
of energy
He does not
drinks.
walk.
Yeah,
so
it's
like
The trunk is refrigerated?
he unpacks
No.
his
He puts
unpacks
them in
his
the fridge.
bag, and it's literally just a trash can or
okay.
trash bag filled with energy drinks. He puts
Interesting.
them away.
Must
And
be
then
very
he-
heavy
and then-
too.
Well, it is,
Uh-huh.
and he beats the main character to death with the
That's even
bag,
harder.
the sack of.
It's
of
hard
energy
enough to
drinks.
hold a heavy thing.
the whole
but
movie-
to use it as a weapon.
Why I think that the energy drink is essentially his lifeblood
Yeah.
is because
Food.
the end of the movie, lifeblood it sounds more dramatic.
It is,
The
yeah.
end of
Yeah.
the movie, him and the final girl don't talk, and he just offers energy drink to her as they drive off into the
Yeah.
sunset.
Oh,
He
he's bringing
cracks
her
it.
into the fold.
He cracks it and he goes.
He has made another.
Right.
He has brought on a
Nice.
protege.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because
To his
he-
weird ways.
He's very good at fighting these things, and he's seen that she had a desire with no energy drink
yeah.
to,
Oh,
to
that's true.
fight these people.
She's got the
Right?
She's got something
she's got
special.
touch.
She could be like me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's got something special
Like
that,
Brian.
that he wants to.
Yeah. Didn't he? Wasn't that his
The
one line in the
seed-
movie?
Yeah,
The
I wish
seed
he
was
he could be
me.
just like Brian Lee.
The seed was planted, and he wants to water it,
Right.
watch it flourish.
And now I want a sequel about that.
So
No.
I would say, hey, if you guys are interested in Five Nights at Freddy's and you want to see better version of that,
Yeah.
I thought that
Willy's Wonderland.
Willy's
is
Wonderland was super fun.
Great. Cage songs.
I give that
Five Nights at Freddy's.
4 Nights at Freddy's.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I would go with 4 stars. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that was
Yeah,
great.
4 nights. 4 fingers.
Our Moon is back
4
in the
fingers
chat.
of
Hi, Our
Freddy's.
Moon.
Hey,
Hey,
Moon.
fellas. Anyone see Pluto?
No.
Netflix dropped one of the best anime. I had no idea. This is the first I'm hearing of it. Our Moon.
Oh, not me. I saw it on Netflix and having
Kept scrolling.
no, eventually, yes. But I did see it, and I was like, "That looks really cool." And one of the descriptors it gives is extensive hour-long episodes. You know how it'll say like, yeah, like comedy, drama, or whatever. This is extensive hour-long episodes, and that intrigued me.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, are they very involved? Or, you know, and I've mentioned it before. I'm not super into the styles of anime usually. So I haven't watched it, but it did really catch my interest, and I
Apparently, it's one of the best, says Armoon.
There we go. I'm very interested, and I'm that Arcane that we were talking about. It for whatever reason seemed to kind of strike me in a similar vein, even though I haven't seen Arcane either, just from how it was being talked about by Cameron Costa, the gentleman.
Carmen.
Carmen Costa.
Costa.
I will actually. I'm going to go check it out, Armoon.
Yeah, it sounds cool.
At your recommendation.
Well,
I'm not a big anime guy, but I'm curious to at least check it out.
I'm not gonna watch shit.
I was excited for there was a new Fully Cooley, and that was
I'm gonna watch garbage.
hot garbage.
Oh
was
yeah,
that a live
grunge.
actioned?
No.
Okay.
So
Poorly animated.
it's alternative shoegazy.
What?
And now grunge, and grunge is the 3D
What,
looking
shoegazy?
terrible.
Awful.
one.
What's shoegazy?
Shoegazy is a type of music.
Shoegaze.
Shoegaze
Shoegaze.
is a type
It's
of
shoegazy.
shoegaze is whom?
It's a type of music. It's a genre of music.
Gotcha. Okay.
All of them are genres of music.
Oh, indeed.
All right. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us. It is time for us to GTFO. We will see you next week, and hopefully next Wednesday morning we'll do another fresh floppy.
We'll see.
Maybe.
Listen, I had a death in the family. Mom, I love you. I miss you. You were wonderful. So it's been a rough week, but hopefully we'll be back on schedule soon.
We're figuring out schedules. If you have any,
figuring it out.
we'll get there. So don't worry about it.
Don't worry.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Look, if
We're gonna do it when we do it.
don't worry about it. It's gonna get
What are you
done.
over there worried about it? I just said not.
It's gonna get done when it
dare
gets done.
you.
And you know what? If you are so concerned with how fast it comes out, like, comment, subscribe, request.
Yeah.
As of right now,
Son of a bitch.
it just gets done when it gets done.
Hey, don't
You
worry
want it
about
right or you want it fast?
I gotta make Len lick his chicken pot pie. Oh, Len his chicken pot pie.
You
No,
said
don't.
Len.
That's mine.
You said I gotta make Len lick his chicken pot pie.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh no, it's just Len.
I just
It's just.
What are we making chicken pot pies for everyone?
Yeah.
What's going on?
This was agreed upon last week.
It was?
I mean, we demanded it.
Yeah, I don't
know if it was agreed
I don't
upon.
remember the agreement.
we demanded it. All right, thank you so much for hanging out with us, and we'll talk at you later.